Okay, so this is a video of kids, or should I say students in like public school slapping their teachers for a challenge, a TikTok challenge. And it's really stupid and it's really dumb. And I got some stuff to say on it, so I guess without further ado, I'll play the video, or at least part of it. I don't really feel I have to play the whole video to give you the idea, but maybe I'll play it. I don't know. Let's just play it.
This is wrong on all levels.
Educators are sounding the alarm about the so-called Slap a Teacher challenge on TikTok.
Kids, think again. That's assault. That's a record.
And while y'all trying to smack teachers, smack them books open. Smack them open to do that homework.
Smack them books open.
Some say it's the latest crazy social media challenge that has police and educators on alert. But is it real or a hoax that has taken on a life of its own? This sickening video shows a student slapping and striking a 64-year-old wheelchair-bound teacher and was initially reported in connection with the Slap a Teacher challenge. But the school district in Louisiana tells Inside Edition, "We don't have any evidence from our investigation that this incident is related to the TikTok challenge." There was also this breaking news report out of Massachusetts.
A student is accused of slapping a staff member while at school, and it's apparently all part of a new social media challenge.
TikTok says in a statement, the rumored Slap a Teacher dare is an insult to educators everywhere. And while this is not a trend on TikTok, if at any point it shows up, content will be removed. Connecticut State Attorney General William Tong says he's fed up over dangerous social media challenges, including a recent TikTok challenge that encouraged students to vandalize their schools.
Look at this, ruthless.
This has really got to stop, and that's why I'm putting so much pressure on TikTok. And they've got to do more to use either their machines or human eyeballs to take this content down so that kids aren't encouraged to tear their schools apart, slap their teachers, or worse.
The National Education Association is urging social media giants to stop the spread of potentially dangerous viral challenges by putting public safety over profits.
Oh, jeez. Okay, so that's the whole video. Let's look at the comments a bit. This is why there's a shortage of middle school teachers. No one wants to work with these kinds of behavior. Parents need to raise their children better. Okay, whether it's related to TikTok or not, what they did is absolutely horrendous, especially to a 64-wheel-bound teacher. Absolutely disgusting. What else? Challenge more like assault and battery. A question why society is bad. Okay. So let me say this. Well, slapping a teacher, being violent, in general, that's not right. These people say students shouldn't slap teachers. Well, they're not wrong. However, the thing is, when you have an authoritarian environment, such as public school, what do you expect? I mean, do you just expect people to behave, despite the fact that they're in a really hostile environment? Public school, as I said before, is essentially a prison, and we all know how violent prisons are, and that they breed more crime, and that they're authoritarian as hell, and that there's really no incentive or push in the environment for them to be good people. Same with public school. In public school, it's pretty much just sit down, shut up, and do as we say. I don't think that exactly teaches anyone to be good. Remember, good behavior and obedience are two different things. Obedience is just doing what your masters tell you. Good behavior or goodwill or just being good, that's different. That's actually seeking to be as moral as possible, to help your fellow human beings out, or at least leave them alone, to not be a dick, to not be unnecessarily violent, to only be violent in self-defense, that kind of thing. public school doesn't really do that. You know, in an environment where you just teach people to obey you, they're not gonna feel any real obligation to be good people. To be obedient people, maybe, but to be good people, no. I mean, yeah, there are some good people in public school, but they're not really that way because of the system. They're that way because of their hearts or their minds or something other than the system that you're forced to attend to and forced to stay is what causes or teaches people to be good. And when you have a bad environment, that doesn't really teach people to stop being so chaotic and inconsiderate and violent. That just teaches them to do as the school tells you, do as the teachers and principals and other people tell you. People are gonna act up. They're gonna, for whatever reason, people are gonna act up. Whether they're all pent up with rage or excitement or chaos or just plain fun at someone else's expense, they're gonna do it because the environment didn't really do anything to try and change their minds otherwise. Teaching people to obey is not teaching people to be good. I mean, remember, you can have a bunch of obedient people and have very shitty bad people. And it doesn't even have to be like, oh, you get all these police officers to just obey the city council or the government to carry out their oppressive laws. I'm not even talking about that. I'm just talking about like civilians that, yeah, they obey their government, but they're not good people in and of themselves. Like, one reason they're obeying their government and just acting like it's so good and needs to be around, and needs to be kept around, like with voting to, supposedly keep the peace. Not only that, but also, if people, obey the state and pay their taxes, but they aren't really good people, they aren't really there to, they aren't really leaving their fellow man alone, or they're not really helping their fellow man out. I mean, hold on. If these people aren't helping their fellow man out, or even just leaving them alone, and they're being really bitter and rude and inconsiderate and mean and even violent, then, okay, yeah, they obeyed the state in general, but they're still shitty people or just inconsiderate people. It's not obedience that makes someone good. It's basic moral principles and the teachings and adherence to them that make people good. Treat others with respect. Don't treat others the way they don't want to be treated. Treat others the way you want to be treated, or treat others the way they want to be treated. Like, so they treat you the way you want to be treated. That basic stuff. That's teaching and instilling. That is what helps people be good. Yeah, that's what helps people be good. Not just sit down in class, or you gotta do your work, or stop talking, or just shut up. That doesn't teach people to be good. Obey? Sure. Or at least likely. But to actually care for their neighbor, their fellow human being, I don't think telling someone to just sit down and shut up, or just do their work, or sit down in class, I don't think that really instills good moral principles into a person. And for society to continuously support public school despite all the bad chaos and misery and even death it's brought is just astounding and ridiculous and unfathomable. That, public school is bad, yet people say let's keep it around. It's a really weird cognitive dissonance and disconnect I see among people in general. And it doesn't even have to be the US public system. It can be other public school systems in other countries too, like Australia, or countries in Europe, or, South America, Africa, Asia, around the world basically. Where if you have a system that people are forced to attend, and they're forced to stay in and, just obey what reason for them is there to be good, to care for other people? There's only like the reason to obey, like obey or we hurt you. I mean, that's pretty much it. It's not like obey or you're like, okay, well, there is technically some brainwash involved to convince people to obey or they're a bad person, but they're just mere with just authoritarianism, there's no incentive to really care for one another. It's just do as you're told or get hurt. So I don't like this stupid trend of just slapping a teacher. I think it's really juvenile and violent and really lowest common denominator, so to speak. But I can't see it and other bad behaviors going away, like the vandalism, and I thought that was some pretty high tier vandalism. I mean, being able to get a sink out or knock down some stalls. I mean, it's pretty high tier, I have to admit. But to expect people to just stop slapping teachers or stop vandalizing or just stop being chaotic in general, I can't see that happening with the current system. And it's funny that it's been established for years and proven many times over that, hey, public school isn't good, we gotta do something to replace it. But people just go and say, okay, it's like, you mention the bad things about public school and people nod their heads in agreement, but then all of a sudden, but as soon as you say, oh, we should get rid of that, / we should get rid of truancy laws, they go, we can't do that. We can't just get rid of public school. Kids wouldn't learn, and they'd be bums, or they'd leech off of welfare as a result of not being able to get a job because they weren't going to school to learn to get a job. They still think that way, and I just think it's really ridiculous. If public school breeds bad behavior as well as bad results, why the hell keep clinging to it? Why the hell do people keep clinging to it? I mean, yeah, the brainwashing thing, and I've been conditioned by the government to not only go to public school and live and breathe public school, but to support it. I mean, other than that, I still don't see how the problems can be there, and yet people don't see that this is what's causing them. I feel like people need to do more than just see problems and where they happen. They need to start looking for the real causes of the problems. I mean, it's not enough for people to just see, oh yeah, there's bullying and school shootings and teacher-student sexual relationships and just misery and stress overall in public school. It's not enough for people to just see that. People need to start seeing the cause and, actually see the solutions. Like, yeah, like, what's a good example? Instead of looking at a public school that isn't doing so well and saying, oh, it's not doing so well, it needs more funding, people should be analyzing, well, why isn't it doing so well? Is it because the kids just aren't trying hard enough, or the teachers aren't good, or maybe the system in general is bad and needs to be overhauled or just plain replaced or avoided? Which I personally think, I think public school should be avoided like the plague, and, replaced by, anything else that's better, like homeschooling, private schooling, charter schooling, just anything but public school pretty much. Free market, something that's voluntary. But I feel like before you even get to that point, people should see that, hey, the system is not working. You just, shove kids in a concrete box for 8 hours a day and expect them to be good and knowledgeable. That doesn't make any sense, and that doesn't work. You need you need real principles to go by with how to teach people and what to realistically expect from it. You know, like, okay, it's like our kid's not working hard enough, our teacher's not good, the system need to be overhauled. You know, instead of thinking like that, I kind of think it's already been proven that the third notion that, oh yeah, the system needs to be overhauled or needs to be replaced or just avoided. People don't even think of that really, or don't even really think of the teachers just doing things. I mean, I did debunk some political cartoons that say, oh, the students just aren't trying hard enough. But I think if people at least thought that way, instead of the most common, schools just need more funding, I think people would actually get somewhere to improving education. I mean, they already have enough funding, more than enough funding. And yet people just say, it needs more. It's like, well, we gave you more. How much more do you need? How much more do you need to do this basic function of educating children or minors? You know, like, why is there a need for more and more funding just to give kids a basic education? You know, it doesn't really add up. What it does add up to is that teachers are greedy, the public school system's greedy, the government's greedy, and we just want to, you know, con and, you know, coerce you into funding us more so we get our slice, and you people don't really get anything. You know, it's like, okay, we say we're going to increase funding to have better public schools. It's like, yeah, rah, rah, rah. And the funding's increased, but you don't have better schools. So I've kind of gone on a tangent from just going, oh, it's stupid to expect kids to behave in such a bad, piss poor environment, to, yeah, you know, the public school system isn't good. We should really change it and stop expecting all this wonderful stuff out of it. It's kind of funny. But it's just that when I read these comments, the people just kind of thinking, you know, kids just need to behave, or we need to make the punishments more harsh. Um, it's, you know, I don't see any of these comments really saying that, hey, the environment breeds trouble. It breeds chaos and mean-spiritedness and violence. I don't see anyone really saying that. They say, oh, it's bad, it happens. But nobody really says, like, oh, well, it ain't gonna happen any better here. One guy says, AB says, for cases such as these, for cases like these, they should be tried as adults even if they're like 15. It's like, okay, yeah. Okay, and this guy says, if you're a teacher and get smacked by a student, send him or her home to their parents with a broken nose. Okay. That's kind of dumb, but, you know, the bad narratives are still common, so, you know, not surprising. When Neil says, if I were a teacher and someone or whoever decided it was a good idea to attempt to beat slapping, good luck with that. I hope they know Jesus because they're about to find out if he exists. Skull. Oh, okay. This guy is quoting, you know, parents, she had a reason, she is a victim of bullying. Okay, it's, yeah. And then this one person is saying, I'm sorry if your child disrespects another human being, then you have failed as a parent. Kindness, humility, and respect starts at home. One guy says, Liberty Prime, he's an ANCAP. Not true, I came from a broken home and I have all those traits. More common, he says, good for you, and Rose says, good for you, 1 in a million, and then Liberty Prime says, more common than you think, but thanks for making me feel like I don't fit in. Okay, so I got these comments that, of people that just don't get it, so how about I put my comment in. Okay. And what do you expect? Yes. Person, which are two totally different things. Someone that's in need, or at least isn't a jackass to people. So, and to have many, it doesn't really teach or instill good values onto people. It's just an indoctrination camp. Obedience and, of course, money for the state. Want better? Want better kids and rent. Okay, and there we go. And ANCAP cat, you know, me, says, slapping people is bad, though considering the environment of public school is a dumpster fire, then what do you expect? I mean, public school is just about obedience, not being a good person, which are two totally different things. Obedience, do as you're told or else. Good person, someone that helps those in need or releases in a jackass people. The public school system has been proven to death. It doesn't really teach or instill good values onto people. It's just an indoctrination camp designed to generate obedience and, of course, money for the state. You want better kids, and allow them in a better environment. Let them learn what they want, where they want, and get rid of those fucking truancy laws. Enough of forcing them into a concrete box for 8+ hours a day and expecting them to behave. Okay, well that's my comment. And this is my video, and maybe they're both lame, or maybe I repeat stuff too much, but hopefully I got the message across that, hey, if you have a bad system, keep expecting people to be bad in it, because, well, they have no incentive to be good. It doesn't instill good values, it just instills obedience, and, lets chaos bottle up until it spills over. It's not good. So yeah, freedom, just leave people alone and let them be free. Good things will result. I'm out.